16-6. The Browns lose this football game. Just a really disappointing, kind of uninspiring way, I guess, is the way I'd put it, to go into the bye week. You're 5-3, and we're going to talk about that over the course of this podcast. I'm sure you and I will get into that too before you go. But just the game itself, a really disappointing way to go into the bye week. Just a lot of mistakes, a lot of things plays they could have made that might have changed this football game a little bit. It's just really hard, I guess, to kind of put into words, how uninspired it all was.
Yeah, well, you know what? Here's the thing. The Las Vegas Raiders come in here, this high-flying team that scores a ton of points. Now, the weather was obviously a huge factor with the wind and the snow and the hail. But still, the Raiders, they blew a lot of opportunities early on in this game, okay? I mean, they marched down on their very first long drive. They had a big key clutch drop in the red zone, and then they hit the left upright on the first field goal attempt. So the Browns dodged a huge bullet there. They come back, and Harrison Bryant is forced to fumble. These are the kinds of mistakes that you cannot make in a game like this, where that you need to score some points. When the Raiders are not scoring, that's when you need to seize the moment. And they just were not able to do that. Now, Baker had about 3 of his passes dropped. They had the Landry touchdown that was overturned. I think the Browns felt like, it was sort of even Steven between the Renfro touchdown and the Landry touchdown in terms of if you're going to take one of those off the board, you have to take both of them off the board. So, here they were in the third quarter, and it's 6-6. And they can't put the game away. And that's where the Raiders just started taking over time of possession and not letting the Browns get the ball back, and they couldn't get off the field. Of course, a huge factor, Dan, was Myles Garrett and the ankle and the knee injury.
Yeah, that really hurt them to not have him. He was struggling out there even when he was on the field. He was struggling to get off the field. He was only out there on passing downs, and you could just tell he was in pain. He's going to have an MRI on that on Monday. The thing about this game, though, is, and this is what I wrote right after the game, is the Raiders kind of out-Brownsed the Browns today, which normally when you say that, that's a bad thing. But today it means that they did some really good things. And this is sort of how I thought this game might look. Not the score, but just these are two teams that really value possession of the football. And these are two teams that know how to keep possession of the football. So I thought maybe we'd see a game in the 20s, and I think in normal conditions we would have, where both teams are really efficient. Both teams score, when the ball, and the Raiders really did a nice job, I thought, of just possessing the football. And it's something that Kevin Stefanski really preaches. And it stood out to me. 4:02 left at the end of the half. The Raiders take over 3-3, and they ran this 4-minute offense to perfection. How many times have we seen Kevin Stefanski be able to run that 4-minute offense to perfection? The Raiders take a 6-3 lead to the locker room. That's not when they won the game, obviously, but that's kind of when they sent the message that, hey, we're going to be efficient. We're going to hold the ball. The time of possession in this game was outlandish, 37-43 for the Raiders, 22-17 for the Browns. And that's what the Browns try to do. They try to control the game on the ground. They try to hang on to the football, run an efficient offense. They didn't do that today. And look, we've got to talk about the drops. David Njoku had a huge drop. Jarvis had a couple of drops. Now, I don't blame him for that one in the fourth quarter when he got hit. Baker threw the ball up high and he got hit in the back. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I count that one as a drop, but he had some drops. Kareem Hunt had another drop today. Mm-hmm. So, I actually thought Baker played pretty well, to be honest. His numbers might not look that way, but I didn't watch Baker today and think, boy, he's really struggling. I think he was kind of let down today by some of his receivers.
Yeah, he really was. It was unfortunate. And this was the first game without Odell Beckham Jr., right? And I think that everybody just assumed that it was going to be like it was in Cincinnati, where it was so much more efficient and everybody did a wonderful job without Odell. And I think that, I think this was a testament to the fact that, let's not go blaming the offensive struggles of this football team on one of the best receivers in the game of football. Rashard Higgins only had 1 catch for 14 yards in this game. And as you mentioned, there were a significant amount of drops. I think this is a game where you can honestly say that they really did miss some of their star players, like really missed their star players. If you think about it, if they would have probably had Nick Chubb, Austin Hooper, Odell Beckham Jr., Miles Garrett for most of the game. There's a good chance they could have won this game. But that put just a little bit too much strain and stress on them to be without all those guys, Wyatt Teller, because it became a ground game. I mean, if you were here, there was whipping winds, hail, and snow. It became a game where you had to be able to get the job done on the ground. So for sure, Nick Chubb would have helped a lot. But that's what the Raiders were able to do. I mean, and the Browns have the offensive line to do it. I mean, they should have been somehow they should have been able to manage the ground game a little bit better than they did. But for whatever reason, it just didn't happen. The Raiders played keep away, and that was kind of the name of the game.